I just read an article from Market Watch about how foreclosure filings are up 132%. Is this it? Are we ready for the housing correction? Are we ready to see hundreds and hundreds of foreclosures again? As always, guys, I'm the Flipping Loaner Ninja, and we are Two Guys Take on Real Estate.
Two Guys Take on Real Estate.
There was an article talking about how foreclosure filings are up 130% year over year. So let's kind of dive into that a little bit. And what does that mean today? Pretty decent article going over how the market has been seeing a lot of more filings, especially from analysts like Black Knight, which is a really good resource for a lot of information on the housing market. So right here, Black Knight, secondly, more than 78,000 U.S. properties had foreclosed filing during the first quarter of 2022, which is up 39% from the previous quarter, which would have been the last quarter of 2021, and from a year prior, 132%. Now, one of the things that you're going to want to know here is you've also had the moratorium. So of course, you're going to start seeing an uptick in general of this. And here they're, talking about year over year, the active numbers of cases. Obviously, after the forbearance period, you're naturally going to see an increase and stuff like that. What I want to talk about is what we're seeing in our market. And I'm sure every market's going to be a little different, but in Massachusetts and Connecticut, when we were at the peak of buying stuff at foreclosures, we were typically seeing maybe 40 to 50 foreclosure auctions scheduled and happening on a weekly basis in Massachusetts, and typically in Connecticut we were seeing roughly the same amount. They actually happen only one day a week in Connecticut, whereas Mass happens every day, because once again, judicial versus non-judicial, a little different situation, but we were generally seeing a total in the two states that we were doing over the course of a week. We were seeing over 160 auctions typically that we would at the max peak, and on average we were seeing maybe 100, so 50 in Connecticut, maybe 50 in Massachusetts. Now, what we've seen during the pandemic, we were definitely seeing maybe 1 to 2 auctions in each state, so maybe 4 or 5 auctions total per week. And obviously, with demand massively, we were seeing so many more people show up there. So our rate of success was drastically down. Before, we were buying from 2016 to 2019, we were buying probably 20, almost 20 houses a month from these foreclosure auctions. But with limited supply from lack of foreclosures, mostly due to the forbearance, and in Massachusetts there was actually another act that happened right prior to COVID, 1 year prior, which was the Thompson case, that actually also stopped foreclosures and made all foreclosures prior 3 years invalid, which had to go through the whole court system and kind of clean that all up. That's a whole separate discussion point, but that happened, and once that kind of finalized through, then COVID hit, and that just kept pushing off of foreclosures in Massachusetts specifically. Obviously, we're seeing that nationwide with the national forbearances. Now, what we're starting to see here, and we track foreclosures on a weekly basis. We're always putting together our foreclosure lists to go out. So for instance, this week alone, we're having maybe 10 auctions this week, and we're more than likely see maybe a couple of them get postponed or canceled due to people filing for last minute bankruptcy or something like that, or they have to, the court, or the if it's a judicial court, or the in Massachusetts, like non-judicial, the law firm finds that there was some paperwork that was missed, some T that wasn't crossed, or I that wasn't dotted, and therefore they have to kind of start the process over, so they postpone it. So that's kind of what we're seeing. So we're definitely seeing now, yes, we're definitely seeing an uptick from a year, 2 years ago, but we're still far from where we were in the normal period of foreclosures. I'm hoping that things will start picking up. We do acquire a lot of property through foreclosure, and looking at what we're seeing come down the wave, I think we're going to start seeing more and more commercial type foreclosures, and eventually that will also matriculate into more regular auctions that are, residential home, single family home type stuff. But we're already starting to see more and more commercial auctions happening a little bit more, and I think we're going to start seeing as well as that with residential. There has been an uptick year over year for us, but it's still a ways away from where it was for many years prior. So I think we have a ways to go. I hope this was helpful. If you want to learn more about foreclosures, check out this right here. And I hope you guys leave a comment and question. I would like to know what state you are in. Have you bought a foreclosure auction before? If so, what was that experience like? Enjoy it today. So have a great day, guys. Thanks a lot.